My boss invited my boyfriend to her lake house and told me I wasn't professional enough to come, so I did something that made her regret it instantly. You know when something just doesn't sit right, like it crawls under your skin and won't let go? That's how this whole mess started. I work in marketing at a mid-sized tech startup. It's one of those places with beanbags in the break room and kombucha on tap, like they're trying really hard to seem fun but also expect you to casually bleed for the company. Anyway, my boss Angela is the type who wears stilettos to our Monday stand-ups and talks like a TED Talk speaker married a mean girl. She's always going on about synergy and elevating our personal brands, but underneath all the buzzwords, she's calculating, like weirdly competitive with other women in the office even if we're not competing. It's always subtle digs wrapped in compliments. Oh wow, I could never pull off that color, but good for you, and stuff like that. So when she invited a few team members to her lake house for the weekend as a bonding retreat, I wasn't surprised. What did surprise me was who got invited and who didn't. I was in the kitchen making tea when I heard her talking to Emily and Jordan about packing swimsuits and how she'd stock the wine fridge. I walked in like, "Oh, what's this?" And Angela just smiled, all teeth and no warmth. "Oh, it's just a little weekend thing I'm doing at my place. Super informal," she said. I laughed. "Sounds fun. Who all's going?" And she says, "I kid you not, just the people who've demonstrated consistent professionalism this quarter." I stood there blinking at her like she'd just insulted my mom. I wasn't even sure how to respond. I mean, I have been professional. I've led 3 campaigns this quarter, hit all my metrics, stayed late, never missed a deadline. Meanwhile, Jordan literally ghosted a client call last week because he forgot and he's invited. Angela didn't even blink. She just turned back to Emily and said, "Anyway, I thought we'd do a little bonfire and maybe take the boat out." I just walked out. I felt like I'd been slapped. But fine, whatever. Not going to the lake house. Cool. Except 2 days later I found out my boyfriend was. Let me explain. His name is Noah. We've been together a little over a year. He's not in marketing, he's in IT on contract. Totally different department, but he's been around the company long enough that people know him. He's sweet and kinda awkward. Think like golden retriever energy but in human form. So when he casually mentions he's heading up to Angela's lake house on Friday, I just freeze. I was like, "Sorry, what?" He's sitting on my couch eating leftover pad thai like this is the most normal thing ever. "Oh yeah, she invited me to that team weekend thing. Said they needed someone to help with setting up the sound system or something for outdoor movie night." I literally stared at him for a solid 10 seconds. "She invited you to the lake house?" I said slowly. "But told me I wasn't professional enough to come?" Noah frowned. "Hold on, what?" Angela said it was only for people who demonstrated consistent professionalism. "I didn't get invited, but she invited you. You're not even on her team." Noah looked so confused, like truly lost. "She didn't say it like that to me," he said. "She just mentioned needing help with the setup and said she was inviting a few people from different departments." I felt sick. Like genuinely gut-level sick. Why would my boss invite my boyfriend behind my back to her personal property and tell me I wasn't welcome? Noah looked uncomfortable, probably because I was giving him a death glare, but I wasn't mad at him. I was spiraling. What was this? Was she trying to test me? Send a message? Flirt with him? I didn't say anything else, just went into the bedroom and shut the door. I wasn't just embarrassed, I felt humiliated. And the worst part? Noah didn't even get it. He came in a few minutes later, still holding the takeout container, and goes, "Hey, are you mad? I didn't know you weren't invited. Do you want me to not go?" But at that point, I didn't even know what I wanted. I felt like I was watching a car crash in slow motion, and somehow I was the one being blamed for the wreck. I told him, "No, it's fine. Go." 'Cause honestly, I needed to see what would happen next. I needed to know if this was just in my head or if Angela really was playing some kind of twisted game. And spoiler alert, it was not just in my head because what happened at that lake house, that was just the beginning. So Noah went. He packed his little duffel bag Friday morning like he was going to summer camp, gave me a forehead kiss and promised to text me when he got there. "It's probably just awkward corporate stuff," he said. "Don't stress." I faked a smile so hard I swear my face was sore. I told myself to let it go. Told myself this wasn't a big deal. I even sat on the couch that night, tried to binge a season of Love is Blind like a normal person, but my stomach was in knots the entire time. I kept picturing Angela in some flowy beach dress handing Noah a margarita and laughing at all his corny IT jokes while I sat at home, apparently not professional enough to be included. At around 9 p.m. Noah texted, "Made it. Place is nice, they're doing drinks by the dock. Cool. Very cool. Totally fine and not weird at all. Except something was weird, because the next morning he didn't text. Like at all. And I don't mean he forgot a good morning text or something. I mean full radio silence. All day. Now, Noah's not glued to his phone or anything, but he's not the kind of guy who goes 12 plus hours without checking in, especially not when he knows I was already upset about this whole situation. By 5 p.m. I was pacing. I texted, "Hey, all good." No response. 6:30 p.m. I sent, "Are you alive? Hello?" Nothing. By 8 p.m. I was spiraling so hard I practically had a PhD in paranoia. I started imagining the worst. Like, Angela slipped something in his drink and buried him in the backyard levels of spiraling. But I didn't want to be that girlfriend. I didn't want to come off clingy or insecure or whatever. So I just waited. Finally, around 11 p.m. I get a text. Sorry, got pulled into a team thing. Just got back to my phone. What kind of team thing lasts the entire day and doesn't let you check your phone once? I replied with, everything okay? And he said, yeah, just tired. We'll call tomorrow. Except he didn't call. And that's when I started digging. Let me be clear, I'm not the type to snoop. I've never once checked Noah's phone in the year we've been together. I trust people until they give me a reason not to, but when he finally came back on Sunday night, something felt off. He walked in with a duffel bag slung over his shoulder and this weird look on his face, like he was trying too hard to act normal. Hey babe, he said, setting his stuff down and going in for a hug. I hugged him back, but it felt stiff, word, like we were play acting. So, I said casually, how was it? And Noah, sweet, well-meaning Noah, smiled and said, pretty chill. Nothing crazy, mostly just hanging out. Angela made everyone breakfast this morning. Pause. I blinked. Angela made you breakfast? Yeah, like pancakes and eggs. It was nice. Nice. He said it like he didn't realize how messed up that sounded. Like it was totally normal for my boss, who excluded me from the trip, to be flipping pancakes for my boyfriend while I stayed home feeling like I'd been voted off the island. I didn't say anything, just nodded. Let him talk. He told me a few boring stories about board games and a canoe trip and how someone fell in the lake. Ha, so funny. All while I was sitting there thinking, you are not telling me something. After he fell asleep that night, I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at his phone on the nightstand. I felt like a cliche, but I picked it up anyway. I didn't have his passcode, but I didn't need it, 'cause his texts with Angela were in his email. Yeah, apparently they'd been emailing not just about IT stuff, but casually. Joking, chatting, there was even a message from before the trip where she wrote, glad you can make it, I'm keeping the guest house open for you. The guest house. Open for you. Winky face. I wanted to throw the phone across the room. I kept scrolling. There wasn't anything explicit, no confessions, no I want you stuff, but it was vibey, you know? Too familiar, too casual, too flirty. The worst one was this short message from during the trip. Saturday night, right around the time he stopped texting me. Angela wrote, thanks again for helping out earlier, you made the night. And Noah replied, wouldn't miss it. You throw a great party. I put the phone down. My face was burning. This was something. I didn't know what yet, but it wasn't innocent. And even if it was, the optics were all wrong. And that's when I remembered something else. Angela isn't just my boss. She's on the company's executive board. The same board that never hears about the behind-the-scenes mess. The same board that thinks Angela is this brilliant, polished team leader with flawless HR instincts. Yeah, I started drafting an email that night. Just saving receipts and gathering details. Just in case, you know. Because I had a feeling this wasn't over. And girl, I was right. So Monday rolls around. I walk into the office with my iced coffee and my emotionally repressed fury like a professional. But inside, I was basically 2 seconds from flipping a desk. I hadn't told Noah yet that I'd seen the emails. I was still trying to figure out how far this thing had gone, and how much of it was in my head versus how much was actual betrayal. 'Cause honestly, that gray area is the worst part. When you know something is wrong but can't prove it. Anyway, Angela strolls into the office around 10 a.m. wearing this obnoxious linen jumpsuit like she just stepped out of a Goop article. She sees me, does that fake, oh there you are smile and goes, hey, let's touch base today. Got a sec after lunch? I said sure, but every bone in my body knew something was up. Angela never does one-on-ones with me unless there's a reason. And considering she just spent a cozy weekend hosting my boyfriend while excluding me, yeah, I had many reasons to feel suspicious. So after lunch, I head into her office. She's got her lavender diffuser going, Spotify lo-fi playing like we're about to vibe out and talk about wellness instead of what I knew was going to be some weird gaslight why nonsense. She sits down, crosses her legs, and says, so I just wanted to check in. I've noticed some tension lately. I blinked. Tension? She nods. I could be wrong, but your energy's been off, especially during the strategy meetings. I just want to make sure we're aligned. I wanted to laugh. My energy's off? Lady, your whole existence is a red flag parade. But I kept it professional. I've been focused on deliverables. I'm not aware of any issues. Angela gives me this smile, like the kind a flight attendant gives you when you ask for a third mini bottle of wine. Polite but judging. She goes, that's great. But sometimes being a strong team player is also about attitude, it's not just about performance metrics. Oh, so this was a warning. Professionalism talk. She really had the audacity to sit there and imply I was being difficult, after excluding me from a team retreat, inviting my boyfriend instead, and spending the weekend cozying up to him like she wasn't fully aware of what she was doing. I asked, is there something specific you want to address? Angela leaned back, folded her hands, and said, just keep in mind how you show up, especially as someone who's looking to grow into a leadership role. I nodded. Of course. Then I stood up and walked out before I could say something that would get me fired. I went back to my desk, sat down, and stared at my inbox like it personally betrayed me. Angela was not just stepping on toes. She was stepping on me, deliberately, surgically, like she was trying to make me snap so she could play the victim. But I wasn't going to snap. No, I was going to strategize. That night, I went home and started collecting. I screenshotted everything. The emails between her and Noah, the invite to the retreat that wasn't company-sponsored but still included multiple employees, the thanks for making the night messages. Like every line that felt just a little too familiar. And then I cross-checked our HR policy. Turns out, hosting select employees at your personal property under the guise of team bonding, excluding others for subjective reasons like attitude, and getting involved with someone under contract? Not a great look. Definitely not if you're on the exec board. Now, I wasn't dumb. I wasn't going to nuke my own career just to call her out emotionally. I needed to be smart. So I booked a meeting with someone I trusted, our internal HR liaison, Vanessa. Vanessa is chill. She doesn't gossip, doesn't play politics, and she's very into process. Like everything by the book kind of person. I walked into her office the next day, closed the door and said, I need to flag something and I'd like to do it off record, at least for now. She looked up from her screen, adjusted her glasses and said, Okay, what's going on? I laid it all out. Vanessa's eyes widened slowly the more I talked. She didn't say much, just asked questions. Dates, times, any formal communication. I showed her screenshots. She took notes. When I finished, she sat back and said, You were right to come to me. This needs to be looked at. I felt something uncoil in my chest. Like, for the first time in days, I wasn't just imagining it. I wasn't being dramatic or unprofessional. I was responding to an actual boundary breach from a woman who had way too much power and way too little oversight. Vanessa told me she'd be opening an inquiry discreetly. No names yet. No alerts to Angela. Just information gathering. I nodded and thanked her, but I wasn't done. Because if Angela thought she could play this game in the shadows, I was about to shine a very bright light on all her BS. Angela was slippery. She knew how to cover tracks. She never said anything outright inappropriate, just enough to make you feel crazy if you brought it up. And the way she smiled through it, honestly should be studied in some kind of workplace manipulation course. But here's where the universe really came through for me, in the form of a coworker I barely knew. Let's call her Nina. Now, Nina's on the finance team. We'd exchanged maybe 5 words total since I started. She's quiet, doesn't do lunch cliques, and always has headphones on like she's scoring a psychological thriller. Basically, the last person I expected to be involved in any of this. But 2 days after I talked to HR, Nina sends me a Slack message out of nowhere. Hey, do you have a sec? I saw something you might want to know about. I literally stared at the screen for a full minute before typing back. Yeah, what's up? She goes, Can I send you something privately? I don't want to stir drama, but it didn't sit right. I told her yes, and she sends a screenshot. It was from Angela's private Instagram. Not the work-friendly one where she posts quotes about hustling harder, but her actual personal account, the one that's supposed to be locked down, friends only. Apparently, Nina had been at a dinner party with someone who's friends with Angela on IG. They were scrolling through stories and boom, she sees a boomerang of Noah and Angela clinking glasses by the lake. Just the two of them. Caption, work hard, play harder, and the kiss emoji. I nearly dropped my phone. I asked Nina, when was this posted? She said, Saturday night. She deleted it after like an hour. I only caught it because my friend showed me. You guys, I couldn't breathe. Angela had posted a flirty video of her with my boyfriend. Then took it down like she knew it crossed a line but couldn't help herself. And the worst part? Noah never said a word. I hadn't even confronted him yet because I'd been so focused on keeping things clean at work. But now I was boiling. 'Cause whatever this was, it wasn't just inappropriate. Angela had used me. She'd used Noah. She'd weaponized her position in the company to get cozy with someone close to me, then tried to spin it like I was the problem. And honestly, I was done playing nice. That night, I sat Noah down and showed him the screenshot. He blinked at it like he didn't know what he was looking at. I said, So you and Angela? Just the two of you at the lake. Saturday night. Care to explain what work you were doing? He rubbed his face, groaned, and said, Okay, it's not what it looks like. I folded my arms. Then what is it, Noah? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like my boss posted a thirst trap with my boyfriend while I was at home being told I wasn't professional enough to be included. He stammered. It was just a drink. She said she wanted to thank me for helping with the setup. It wasn't romantic. I stared at him. Then why the kiss emoji? He paused. I didn't see that until later. She deleted it. Oh, so he saw it. And still didn't say anything. I shook my head. You knew this was crossing lines. You felt it. And you didn't tell me. He just looked down, ashamed. I stood up. You need to decide, Noah. Are you on my side or are you enjoying playing the clueless tech guy who gets free drinks and attention from a woman who signs your invoices? He didn't answer, just sat there like a statue. I didn't even wait for a reply. I went into the bedroom, shut the door, and started packing his stuff. Not all of it, just enough to make a point. Because even if nothing physical happened, and honestly I'll never know for sure, but the trust was shattered. And Angela was about to have a much bigger problem than just me being unprofessional. I forwarded that screenshot to HR and attached a full report. Everything, the messages, the deleted posts, the implications, the pattern of behavior, her comments to me, her relationship with a contracted employee, all of it. And then, just for good measure, I CC'd the board's anonymous tip line. 'Cause I may not be a VP or wear stilettos on Mondays, but I know how to build a paper trail. And I was about to make sure the people who sign her paychecks knew exactly who they were dealing with. Angela wanted a power play? Cool. Let's play. Okay, so here's what you need to know about our company's HR. They're not totally useless, like they won't cover up someone setting a printer on fire, but they do tend to lean corporate speak heavy. You know the vibe, we'll look into this. Your concerns have been noted. Like cool, thanks for noting my trauma, Janet. But this time? Oh, this time they moved fast. Less than 48 hours after I sent in the full report, including Nina's screenshot, the email thread between Angela and Noah, and my notes from the You Have Attitude Issues meeting, I got a calendar invite. Subject, internal review, private discussion. From Vanessa, HR. Time 9:30 a.m. Thursday. Location, HR conference room 2. And that's when I knew this wasn't just a courtesy call. This was real. I walk in that morning wearing a blazer I never wear, like I literally only bought it in case I ever got called for jury duty. But you know what? It worked. I looked composed. In control. Not someone you could dismiss. Vanessa and another HR rep, someone from compliance, were already there. They asked me to sit, offered me water, which I declined because my stomach was flipping, and thanked me for bringing this to our attention. Then they got serious. Vanessa started off calm. We've reviewed your submission and cross-referenced it with our internal communication logs, event guidelines, and the company's code of conduct. Pause. Your instincts were absolutely correct. What occurred at the lake house, both in terms of exclusionary behavior and personal boundaries, falls into a category we consider highly inappropriate for someone in Angela's position. I literally sat there with my hands folded, doing everything I could to not let my jaw hit the floor. She continued. Inviting contractors to personal events where staff are excluded, especially under a false pretense of professional standards, is not only discriminatory, it opens the company up to potential liability. I blinked. So basically, Angela messed around and now the company might find out. Then they asked the golden question. Would you feel comfortable participating in an official statement if this moves forward to disciplinary action? And y'all, I didn't even hesitate. Yes. Because if Angela wanted to weaponize her power, fine, but I wasn't going to let her keep doing it unchecked. Not to me. Not to anyone else. They thanked me, reassured me that I wouldn't face retaliation, and wrapped up the meeting in under 30 minutes. I walked out of that conference room like I had a personal soundtrack playing. Cue me fantasizing about Angela's designer heels clacking down the hallway as she's walked out by security. Okay, not likely, but a girl can dream. But here's where it got wild. Angela found out. And oh, she did not take it well. That same afternoon, around 4 p.m., I'm at my desk finishing up some client revisions when I get a ping. An email from Angela. Subject, clarification needed. Hi. I understand there may have been some concerns raised regarding our recent off-site weekend. I'd appreciate the opportunity to discuss this with you directly before any misunderstandings go further. Let me know when you have time to connect. Angela. Now, let's break this down. Clarification. Concerns. Misunderstandings. She really tried to dress up getting exposed like it was just a small vibe miscommunication. Like we accidentally wore the same dress to prom. Not that she publicly flirted with my boyfriend and tried to freeze me out of my own workplace. And you know what? I didn't respond. I forwarded that email to HR. That's it. But it didn't end there because apparently Angela was feeling bold. That Friday, I walk into the kitchen to get coffee and guess who's there? Angela. In full unbothered boss lady mode, holding her oat milk latte, smiling like nothing happened. She turns to me and says, I swear on everything, hey, just wanted to say no hard feelings. These things can get messy when personal and professional lines blur. Y'all. I stood there frozen, holding my coffee mug like it was the last thing tethering me to reality. No hard feelings. I looked her in the face and said, oh, I don't blur lines, Angela. I just expose them. Her smile faltered. And I walked out. I don't know what she was trying to do with that little power play. Intimidate me? Paint herself as the bigger person? Control the narrative before things escalated? But whatever it was, it failed. Because the board, they'd received my anonymous report too, and corporate was officially involved. The investigation was no longer internal. It was external. Angela had messed with the wrong, unprofessional girl, and I was just getting started. So about a week after I dropped the receipts and HR did their initial review, the vibes in the office started to shift. Angela wasn't strutting around in her usual stilettos. Her heels got shorter. Her smile got tighter. Her good mornings started to sound more like someone being held hostage by manners. Then someone on the legal team, let's call him Derek, who never interacts with the marketing department, suddenly popped into our floor like he was casually stretching his legs. Right, because legal bro Derek just loves a little marketing banter, huh? I clocked it immediately. Corporate was watching. The real kind of watching, the kind that doesn't knock or schedule meetings. They just show up, plug in, and start going through your Slack messages like they're some detectives or something. But the real turning point came 2 Fridays later. I was sitting at my desk, headphones on, trying to zone out with a spreadsheet when Emily from Angela's inner circle tapped me on the shoulder. Now, Emily and I don't really talk. She's always been one of Angela's favorites. You know, the type who laughs too hard at her jokes and always copies her outfit color scheme like we're in some creepy fashion cult. But today, Emily looked shaken. Hey, she whispered, glancing around. Have you heard anything? I blinked. About what? Angela, there's a meeting. Legal's in there. Doors closed. Nobody's saying anything. I just raised my eyebrows and said, guess the lake wasn't as calm as it looked, huh? She walked away, clutching her iPad like it was a stress ball. 10 minutes later, I got the ping. Subject, urgent, confidential compliance request. From corporate legal. Time 3 p.m. Location, boardroom 5. My hands were literally shaking. I'd done nothing wrong, but you know how it is. When corporate calls you into a boardroom, your soul briefly leaves your body. I took a deep breath, saved my work, and headed in. There were two people waiting. One was from corporate HR, not Vanessa, someone higher up. The other was a sharp-looking woman I'd never seen before, who introduced herself as an external compliance consultant, which is corporate speak for, we're investigating your boss, and it's serious. They were polite but firm. They already had everything. My email, the forwarded screenshots, the timeline, even Nina's message, which meant she'd spoken up too. I guess I wasn't the only one keeping receipts. And then they dropped the bomb. We've requested digital records from the weekend in question. Texts, emails, even security footage from the lake house property. Footage? I blinked. There's footage from the lake house? Consultant nodded. Angela had a Ring camera system installed on her dock and entryway. She used her company card for the subscription, which classifies it as a business asset. That means it's subject to audit. Bro, I swear I almost choked. Angela paid for her personal lake house security using the company card? She really thought she was untouchable, huh? I sat there, stunned, as they explained the next steps. Basically, they were gathering all comms involving Angela, Noah, and anyone invited to the retreat. They also told me they'd be issuing a formal misconduct investigation, one that would be reviewed not just by HR but by the board compliance committee. And if that wasn't spicy enough, they asked if I had any other context to add. Personal interactions, verbal exchanges, or observations that support a pattern. And y'all know I came prepared. I pulled out a notebook and read them exact phrases Angela had said in meetings. Like, this isn't a vibe check, but some people just aren't the right culture fit. You have great ideas when you're not being reactive. We need more composure from people who want to be leaders. Translation. Women who don't let me play queen bee make me insecure. They nodded, took notes, and thanked me for my time. I walked out of that room feeling like I had just testified in a workplace true crime documentary. And guess what happened the very next day? Angela went on leave. Corporate speak for, we're not firing her yet. The office was buzzing. People were speculating everything. Some thought she got caught fudging expenses, others thought she had a breakdown. The Angela loyalists stayed quiet. And me? I just kept sipping my coffee like I hadn't just dropped the corporate equivalent of a nuke on her career. Oh, and Noah? He moved out. It wasn't dramatic. No big blowout, just a quiet mutual realization that whatever we had was now buried under too many layers of awkwardness and betrayal. He said sorry and left. Just like that. I focused on my work, started applying for roles outside that company. Not because I wanted to run away, but because I deserved better. And then the final domino fell. I thought after HR brought in compliance, after Angela got put on leave, after Noah packed up his hoodie collection and left, I'd feel peace. Closure. But honestly, there was still this itch I couldn't shake. 'Cause Angela was still out there, not fired, not exposed, just suspended. She could easily spin this. Make herself the victim. Say it was office politics or a vindictive employee. And you know what? People like her, they're good at the comeback tour. Couple months off, a rebrand, a new position at some other company where no one knows what she did. I wasn't okay with that, so I gave the universe a little nudge. One night, while sipping sleepy time tea and rage scrolling through LinkedIn, I remembered something. Our company has a public-facing feedback portal. It's not Yelp, but it might as well be. It's where employees, contractors, and even vendors can leave anonymous feedback about upper management for the board's review. They claim it's routine performance culture tracking, but baby, I know that team reads every word like it's TMZ for executives. So I wrote the most professional, airtight, legally unproblematic mic drop review you've ever seen. Here's the gist of it. Feedback regarding senior management conduct. Angela R. During a recent offsite event hosted at a senior leader's private property, multiple staff members were selectively invited or excluded based on subjective, non-performance-related criteria. A contracted employee, who was personally connected to a full-time team member, was invited in place of said team member, raising concerns about favoritism and blurred boundaries. Additional communications suggest an inappropriate familiarity between the senior leader and the contractor, including the use of emojis and messaging inconsistent with company professionalism standards. While internal HR is aware, I believe this behavior reflects a broader issue of leadership misusing authority for personal gratification, creating a hostile work environment through subtle manipulation and exclusion. I hope the board considers this pattern when evaluating leadership efficacy, especially regarding the values this company claims to represent: transparency, equity, and respect. And y'all, 2 weeks later, Angela's profile was scrubbed from the company website. Gone. No announcement, no farewell email, no thank you for your years of service. Just a quiet little digital erasure, like she was never there. Someone forwarded me the company's quarterly board update. We all get it via email, but most people ignore it. I didn't. Buried in paragraph 3 under leadership updates was this sentence. We thank Angela R. for her contributions and wish her the best in her future endeavors. A new interim head of marketing will be appointed shortly. That's corporate code for we cleaned house and aren't answering questions. I almost screamed. Right there in the middle of my open plan office. I didn't need fireworks. I didn't need a public apology. I just needed her gone. And she was. Oh, and remember how I said I was applying to new jobs? 2 weeks after Angela's departure, I got an offer. More pay. Better team. No kombucha tap trying to mask a toxic environment. When I gave my 2-week notice, my current boss, the new interim head, actually said, I don't blame you. And thank you. Like she knew what I did. She didn't say it, but her eyes were saying, you took out the office villain and we salute you. I took that offer. I packed my things, left that office for the last time with my head held so high I probably looked like I was floating. And just for fun, on my last day I dropped a 5-star review on the company feedback page. Thanks to the quiet heroes who hold bad leaders accountable. This place is better now. The week after I started my new job, I was finally sleeping again. My skin cleared. I could open Slack without bracing for impact. I even treated myself to a celebratory little shopping spree. Just a couple cute work tops and a tote bag that says, "Don't gaslight me, I will document everything." I was thriving. But then, Angela popped up. No, not in real life, thank everything holy, but on LinkedIn. Apparently she'd updated her profile to marketing executive, thought leader, people-centric visionary. Girl, what people? The best part? She shared this obnoxious, vague post that said, sometimes you have to lose everything to discover your strength. Grateful for the lessons. Ready for what's next. Hashtag leadership, hashtag resilience, hashtag chapter 2. Like she just came back from a spiritual retreat and not a full-blown corporate takedown caused by her own ego and emoji abuse. I didn't respond, but you better believe I screenshotted it and sent it to Nina, who replied with 3 crying emojis, and I swear she thinks she's the main character in a Netflix drama. And honestly, maybe she is. Just not the hero. Meanwhile, Noah texted me out of nowhere. Like 2 months post-breakup, 0 contact, and suddenly, ding. Hey, just wanted to say I've been thinking about everything. I know I messed up. I miss talking to you. Hope you're doing okay. Okay. Let's pause. Because if this were 6 months ago, that text might have broken me. But now? I just stared at it like, what exactly are you trying to resurrect here, sir? I didn't reply. I gave Noah grace when it counted, and he wasted it. And Angela, she gave me the best professional training of my life. I now know exactly how to spot manipulation, perform under pressure, and weaponize a paper trail. So yeah, no regrets. But before I wrap this up, I want to tell you what I did say. Because a few weeks ago, I ran into someone from my old office. Jordan, the guy who was invited to the lake house, remember him? He saw me in the parking lot of a cafe and said, "Hey, I heard about everything. You really blew it up, huh?" And you know what I told him? I smiled and said, "I just cleaned up what someone else left rotting." Then I sipped my latte and walked away. So yeah, that's how my boss invited my boyfriend to her lake house, told me I wasn't professional enough to be there, and ended up getting herself erased from the company directory and the leadership Slack channel. I didn't plan for any of it, I just followed the weird vibes until they unraveled into something undeniable. And along the way, I lost a relationship that wasn't as solid as I thought. Left a job that didn't value me as much as I deserved, and finally learned how powerful it is to just document every single thing. Petty? Maybe. Necessary? Oh, absolutely. These days I've got a better job, a way better boss, and plants I haven't killed in 3 whole months, which honestly feels like character development. Angela can keep her chapter 2, cause I'm on like chapter 9 and thriving. Anyway, thanks for listening to my TED Talk of betrayal, screenshots, and sweet justice. Take care of yourselves and consider subscribing if you like the story. Peace out, YouTube.